Well, good evening, YouTube. It's Michelle, and I am continuing my little series on what I've been making during the quarantine. I have been using crafting as my therapy. It always tends to be, but this has been some pretty intense times, and between the quarantine and everything else that's happening socially, um, I just have had to find a creative outlet. So I wanted to share with you three envelope journals, totally inspired by 49 Dragonflies, who's Barbara. And Miss Barbara has been inspired by Luna Rosu and other creators. And I just love following her. She makes creating so fun. So let's get into this. Let's show. I have three here. This one was done with three 5.5 by 5.5 envelopes, and this was a wine bag. And these other two were done using two. These are 9.25 by 4 legal size envelopes. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, what's easier to show, let's start off with one of these, the legal size. And this particular journal right here was totally 100% inspired by the boxes that you get from your creative studios. And the May box featured items that had a writing theme. So there were stickers that had inkwells and scrolls and feather pens. And I also had a set similar, so that's what I've used, or that's what the inspiration was for this one. I've used on these envelopes the collection that Nick the Booksmith has on her in her Etsy store, that is the Echo dyed paper collection. And so very grungy, everything is very dark, very botanically. Is that a word? Anyway, you get it. So when you look at the front, I have tied this with some jute, some slender jute string, and there's just the eyelet. So this is a small envelope that's wrapped around kind of the binding. And on front there is a collage. Most of this stuff is Tim Holtz stuff. So when you open up the front flap, there is one of these tags that's done in chalkboard style, so you can either use a metallic pen or a chalk pen to write on this. On the inside here, I have a very quick little booklet. Here it has a little tag, and there's one of the Your Creative Studios stickers. I liked it because of the feathers, so it goes along with the plume theme. And this is just a piece of the 6x6 Tim Holtz paper that has been just folded in half and corner cut, and you got your story begins. So that goes on the front there. And again, just looking at that, this is gorgeous paper, Nick. So when you open up on the inside, here's the first flap, and again, all of the envelope has been covered with the paper as well as behind. So it's thoroughly covered, the envelopes are. So I've got one of those Tim Holtz, I don't know what these things are called, but you know, places where you can stick journaling cards. And so I just have some journaling cards that have kind of a writing theme, obviously postcards, etc. Here is a little stamp. This is a pen. I have this stamp, and so I just stamped it on vellum a couple of times as a little bit of decoration or as a bookmark. And then here's one of my K-Cup coffee filter tuck spots here. And so let's go on the inside first. So I have a journal here that's been pamphlet stitched in. The outside here is, again, that Nick's paper printed on vellum. And then all of the papers on the inside are just coffee dyed papers that have been stamped with some various stamps. And you'll see the writing theme. There's an ink bottle. There's some coffee dye paper. Here's a little letter up there. A scroll. This was from the Your Creative Studios. And this paper I've got is coffee dyed as well as some avocado dyed. So there's a pen there, writing pen. So you get the idea. Again, just using the writing theme, the center of that signature. And there's, this was a stamp that's in the collection, and I just stamped it and fussy cut it out. Put it there. Yeah, so get the idea. Just gorgeous colors. A little grungy, I would say, because of the dark colors. Lots of room for writing. This is definitely a writing, duh. All of the writing pen things. And so then on this back page here, I have a glassine envelope, and inside of here are some notes. Again, this is from the Your Creative Studios subscription box for May. And then I just happen to have a plume stamp, and so stamp that stays on there. And then right here, we've got a Chili's bag. This is what your silverware comes from when you go to Chili's. And I've got a collage here. And there's that pin again. Okay. And then when you flip on this side, I've taken those Target seed packet, and I took 4 of them and created a little booklet here. So again, there's that stamp. More of this is Tim Holtz. So the Tim Holtz wallflower paper goes really well with this eco dyed papers, just because of the botanical theme. And then I just use the seed packets as pages for a little booklet. Here. And then the back one is adhered such that you have a large pocket here. Alrighty. And then that just wraps around. So there's the first one that's tall. I think what I'll do is I'll do the second tall one as well, since they're kind of similar. So this one is definitely more floral, more light. This and more, I guess, shabby-ish, but some grunge. So again, you've got the smaller envelope that goes around the edge to bind it. I've got some seam binding, a little bit of lace hiding the pamphlets stitching. So you open it up with some, this is just some seam binding and the bells on the bottom. Got a little bee hanging down here. And when you open it up, there's a pocket here, and in here we've got a button card with the back that's done for journaling. Oops. And then here's a small journal, and it's just a collection. There's a rose that's been fussy cut, and then just some coffee dyed papers that have been stenciled, distressed and stenciled. So you've got a little small journal here. And then here, this is from Graphics Fairy, one of the freebies, and I just printed it on vellum and adhered it to the front. And so here's the first envelope. So that's the flap when you open it up. On this side, this is one of the envelopes I made following Barbara, and I think Maud had a prompt, make 5 envelopes. So this was one of the envelopes I made, and this was the Your Creative Studios collection, and so I had made this envelope, and it just went perfect with that. You pull these out, just some journaling spots here. You can see the envelope behind, and then this is a piece of the cardboard that comes out of tights, and I've just stenciled it. Great for writing. And then here's a quick journal that's been pamphlet stitched into the spine, and so there's a collage on the front, and then just some various papers, doilies. Here's some primary paper. Here's a bag from A Tattered Dream. Hey Denise. Just some, this is a collection from Amazon. Again, primary paper from the Dollar Tree. This was from an Etsy store. This is old ledger paper that we had in the office. I have a perpetual calendar with a doily in the center and some floating butterflies. And then just going on the other side, again, just for writing. And then on this side, we have, here's an envelope here. This envelope actually has a smaller envelope on it. This was one taking the corrugator and making some corrugated paper and doing some stenciling and stamping. And there's a little lace collage up front. So this is for some journaling here. When you open this pocket up, here's a book page. This was a paper piece stamp. Everyone's seen these vintage ladies, so I paper pieced that lady. And then there's just a journaling card in there. This envelope here has a front flap in it, a tuck spot here, and then there are some journaling items there in the pocket. And when you open it up, here is the envelope, and there's some journaling cards in here. And then here's the back page. And when you look at it, the collection's in the back, but here is one of Eva's hidden journaling spots. I love this. First, there's a little lace collage up here with a rusted pin, and then voila, I just love this. Pull it down, and you've got a hidden journaling spot in the back. So hey guys, I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. We're at 11 and a half, and I'm afraid to go much further because these videos tend not to want to load up. So anyway, just some great inspiration. Again, that's Barbara, 49 Dragonflies, Your Creative Studios, The Subscription Box. I've got Nick the Booksmith's Echo Dye Papers, Wallflower, which is Tim Holtz. And yeah, so here's some ideas for you to use those envelopes. Take care. Stay tuned. More coming. Bye.